right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Psychonaut Session Ultraverse edition. This is your host, Daniel Moeller, and then your other host,
Aaron Conaway.
Yeah. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to bust into some new comic day comics circa 1990, whatever.
Yeah, I have 3 or 4, I think. I'm really glad. I enjoyed our mantra run, but I'm really glad to be revisiting Prime for this next stint.
Same. And not just because Prime was like one of my favorite Ultraverse books, but yeah, having large swaths like that with mantra was a little rough. Like not having the breakup of, other parts of the Ultraverse that I'd like to check out.
Yeah, I think after we get through these next few, instead of following the chronology, maybe you and I could start making some of our own decisions rather than what Marvel.fandom has for us of like where we want to go from here. So,
I'm cool with that. And I think whenever we inevitably start, so we're going to do this over on my channel with Valiant still at some point, right? I think this, like, using Ultraverse as the guinea pig, I think I want to go, instead of like a inner chronology, I think I actually do want to do release date. Like, just break them down that way. But we'll see. If I would have done things different, I think I would have gone back and just gone by release date with these. Just to get to the spread quicker. Yeah. I agree. But we're here. Yep. And so Prime number 2, we did Prime number 1. Man, what do you have to say about this cover, Norm Breyfogle? I actually dig this cover, and what's funny is I never remember noticing. Maybe I did, and I just forgot. But the hands, same that came down. I always thought that was just more smoke. Yeah. And I was like, man, how did that? So I actually dig this one, and I like it still has your little framework. Yeah. And everything's going on around it. So far Prime is the one where I'm like, nope, so far I'm happy with all the covers. 100%. I felt like I didn't notice that either before. And I noticed the shadow, and even though that's more heavily rendered, for some reason it just kind of blended into the rest of the image for me. And I think it's partially because of the shadows and the smoke on the right side. Yeah. Of the comic. Well, I think so much is like of this is covering it up in the logo and everything. I think maybe it would have been different if it was on this side. Yeah. I don't know, but otherwise it's still like without the logo and everything too. This image is like, I'm sure, an amazing image to have on one's wall. Yep. You ready to just go for it? Let's dive in. All right. Boom. Here we go. Our splash page. So we're doing like a one splash page scenario, whereas before we had like full splash page and then double. Right. I mean, here we go. That's where we left him. Poor Kevin was like just coming out of the Prime goop, and now he's like naked in the middle of the night, shivering, freaking out on his way home. And ripped. I mean, this kid is ripped, and that's it. So my hiccup with this is like sometimes I think, oh, he's like, I don't know, 11, 12. I don't know how old he's supposed to be, but there are times when he looks young, and then there's times like this where he looks like he smokes too much, working a double at McDonald's. Like, this is a rough life this kid's got. Yeah, the gamut of his portrayals and renderings of this is a wide swath for sure. Like I hear exactly what you're saying. Overall, still a cool drawing. Norm Breyfogle illustrations, Gerard Jones Len Strazewski, of course, illustration, and we'll always give our props out to coloring and lettering to Keith Conroy and to Mildred. So usually, I totally agree. But there's a page coming up here where I do have a question for Keith Conroy. Okay, cool. Well, we will uncover that questioning. So here he's kind of, and the camera's doing that thing again.
Yeah.
You and I were having issues with this earlier, and I don't understand why. Suddenly, there's certain...
Yeah, that just does not like that full laying flat distance. It wants to lay closer.
Let me see if I can adjust real quick, and I'll edit this out. Let me see if I can bring it down.
It's not pulsating anymore, so...
Bring it down just a little bit closer and see if that helps. Okay, so here's poor Kevin. I keep wanting to call him Jimmy. Coming home. Now we know his last name's Green. His mom is freaking out. And
as you do when your young kid shows up naked on the front step.
Yeah, that would be kind of traumatizing. And his dad's just kind of like in the background. We're going to see this theme coming up. And they're asking where he's at, what was happening. And he's just like, I don't remember. And then he looks like demonic. There's this thing Norm Breyfogle does where I think he's just trying to just kind of show that someone's thinking or pondering or they're like keeping something, but they just look like, what the fuck? That looks creepy.
Yeah, he looks bad. He's a bad kid.
Yeah. And then they take him to the hospital, getting him all tested out. Looks like he's just like, well, there's no real trauma, just maybe some like psychological issues going on. And he's watching Prime on the screen and they're like, are you going to be okay? What's up? He's like, yeah, Mom, I'll be okay. And he looks evil again.
Well, not only that, so here's my question for Keith Conroy. Is he blonde or is he brunette?
Yes.
Because he's definitely blonde right there.
Yeah, that very much like screwed with me as well.
And he looked evil. So I was like, wait, is this like... I don't understand what is happening right now. Is he switching evil? And when he's evil, is he blonde?
Yeah.
But then I just chucked it up to a weird coloring decision.
Yeah. And I wonder if that was, one of those cases where the colorist had an idea of what it would look like on the computer, and then once it was printed out, it was like, it just, their decision wasn't right. I think part of that has to do with the glossy paper and the way it's printed, because as we'll see in the next issue, at least the issue I have of number 3, it's newsprint, and the color palette, the colors make so much more sense. Whereas as we've seen in issue 1 and issue 2, the colors are kind of wonky on this glossy paper, and it's the same colorist. So I think part of that has to do with the glossy paper that people were printing on.
All right, fair enough.
All right, so then we get this like one bald fella who is tracking Prime, and he's, basically you get the sense that he's got like connections with the military, but he's not military at the same time.
Right.
And then we get Kevin at school, and we get this whole exchange where the kids are kind of like referring to when Prime came into the gymnasium and beat up the coach, and they're kind of relenting the fact that they didn't get school canceled. And what's her name? Kelly is kind of just like working out what happened with her and Prime, and Kevin comes up and he's like, hey, Kelly, because he's got a crush and trying to connect, and of course gets snubbed, and we get all these evil kids that are all like laughing at him.
Well, and that's the thing, like, so it's the shadow treatment again makes it look, I don't remember having this thought whenever I first read this as a kid, but Kevin very much feels like someone that's going to do something horrible at school, the way it's framed as it's been going along here.
Yeah, that's a deep shadowing gesture there. Like when you black out the eyes of someone, that's like, okay, what's this guy gonna fucking do to everybody?
Right. Especially now that he's got this power.
Yeah. So, and maybe they were going for that. And I would say, as we've kind of seen Prime come along, like he's not a perfect kid. It's actually realistic in this sense. It's like think we want to think that we're moral and we would do the right thing, but I think we would all kind of fuck up along the way too.
Well, sure, and there are moments of that, and that's one thing. But there are also moments like this where I can't shake the feeling that, like, even had he not had powers, this would have been a different story. Like, this is a kid who has all kinds of, like, issues beyond having superpowers. So, and I missed all of it. I didn't pick up on any of that in the initial read.
Probably because we all had issues back then.
Yeah, maybe.
So he's still trailing after Kelly here. And basically he's like wanting to leverage the fact, this really bugs me, by the way. Basically want to leverage the fact that he knows Prime. And of course she's all like, oh, you know Prime? And, you know, and then she's just like, she starts kind of coming to grips of like, oh, I'm kind of sharing too much. And I kind of have a crush on this guy who's actually, Prime is an older guy, but it's actually Kevin, but she doesn't know that.
Well, that's a point I was going to make later, that like Prime is an older dude. Like, they actually addressed the fact that he looks like an older dude.
Yeah.
And like Kevin is just too, and I'm not, this is actually solid writing. Kevin's too immature to realize that, like, Kelly, was that her name?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, she just went through this whole trauma of having a pervy coach. Yep. And now there's another grown man paying attention to this teen girl.
And that's what she's experiencing right here.
Right.
Like,
and she
likes
does later
the attention,
too.
But it's creepy.
But doesn't know what to do with it. And like, and then so that panel, second from the bottom, where it's like, that's another thing where I'm like, Kevin, are you bad?
Yeah. And the red, it's actually red too.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's like, woo, that's heavy. Now, I agree with you. It's actually very solid writing. And I think it's subtle because it seems like it's just like, it's these teens, but there are all these subtle undertones happening, knowing what she's experienced with her coach, knowing that he's like this really like crazy imperfect person. It's cool. I'm digging this, you know?
I'm digging it, but it's not comfortable.
No, I don't think it's supposed to be.
Right.
I think that's what's great about Prime is it looks like it's supposed to be, oh, Superman. It's this comfortable, but look at him.
But they immediately dismiss that with all the body horror, because this is chock full of body horror, and I'm here for all of it. But it's like these little teens exchange. Now that I'm older, because when I was younger, I was just like, oh, you like her? That's cool. She's the popular girl. Let's go fly. Like, that's basically, I just wanted to like get back to, but anyway.
Yeah, but no, all of this like means more to us now that we're older and more mature. Right. And I really do feel like they were going for all of that. Like, they were trying to create more complex scenarios that are in your average superhero book. And then we get a carryover into another scene. And this bugs me because it's like, you have this scene here. You could have added that to that.
Reveal.
Yeah, you could have added that to this page and then put these here and then make the reveal here, which would have been awesome. Right. But you immediately see this when you turn the page, but you have this other weird Max looking character actually coming and looking for basically the Prime refuse. It's like the refuse slime,
the goo
of where Kevin turned back into himself at the big end of last issue at some just random office. But yeah, so, and then he basically, this like monster dude pushes them out of the way. He sniffs it. It's like, and then he takes a flying leap and then jumps across the city looking for tracking Prime. Then we get Kevin back in class. The teacher's just doing shit, teaching stupid, like John bit the dog, subject object stuff. Calls on Kevin, and Kevin was actually trying to make Prime happen, and it looks like he's starting to spurn it, and he has to rush out of class, and everybody's like, "Oh, freak!"
Right.
and he runs out into the bushes, and boom, there it is. This is where Norm Breyfogle is in his top form, for sure.
Yeah, all the body horror stuff is just outstanding. But again, on the bottom right corner, like, he looks shadowy. So it's, and I don't know if that's supposed to be Kelly's take, where she's scared, equally scared and drawn to, or I don't really know. The playing with shadows, I don't really know what always the intent is in this book.
That's a cool perspective, dude. I didn't even think about that. That, like, some of this is actually through Kelly's perspective, because she is a very prominent figure,
right?
In this,
so far,
and her interactions with Prime, that explains a lot of the look. And no, I like that. We need to get Norm Breyfogle on.
Right?
That's what I'm saying.
Explain yourself, sir. No.
Yeah. This was weird to me. Like, she's going home after school, and then we see the big dude here, and I'm like, is he behind her, or is he just in the shadows? So, like, I really came to appreciate Norm Breyfogle's way in which he tried to experiment with panels throughout Prime, but there are some choices that I'm like, that like really kind of confused me for a second, because in some cases it's very literal, in other cases it's almost like, I think this is actually just figurative, that this guy's supposed to be in the bushes somewhere watching.
He's up on a house. He's on the tip of a house, and it's one of those
you're right. I didn't even see that before.
Had they lost that bottom right panel, much like that last page you were talking about, where they shifted that panel to where that tomb was the page turn, and you didn't know if that was the monster coming behind her or what.
Yeah.
That would have been cooler to me, but there just seems to be a loss of, like, pacing, like some of these great reveals.
Yeah. No, yeah, because every next scene starts at the bottom of a even numbered page, so right. or carries over. So, and I think it's like they're trying to get you to flip from page to page, but it's like, we already have the book, Jim Shooter. Sorry, didn't. It's like, we already have the book. You know, you don't need to keep us turning pages. We will turn the page.
Well, but that's the shame of it. They have fantastic cliffhanger pages.
Yeah.
A lot of these times, and then they just kind of don't do them.
Well, so Prime does come, and, you know, he's like, I'm going to take this opportunity to take Kelly for a ride. And this is like, you're right about everything that you said, because this whole sequence made me feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, ooh, this is fucking creepy.
And here the face work is fantastic, because she's in awe, but she's freaked out too.
Yeah.
And not just because she's flying, like, it's a grown man. Another grown man.
She wants to be liked, you know, but and he's handsome. It's like if a young teenage girl had, like, the dude that plays Thor, like Chris Hemsworth or someone, come to them and start showing interest. It's like, it would be cool, but also it's like, oh, this is, like, kind of fucked up too, you know? Right.
It's one of those things where when it's on TV or a movie, it's like, yeah, I'd want that, but then presented with it, it's like, no, this is weird.
Yep. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually just a young boy inside this, like, slime body. That great sequence, though. I mean, that
is a fantastic sequence.
Drawing. I mean, old Norm. I didn't have anything in Diane's section this issue. I think I do the next couple issues, but not this one.
There's one that I did note something, but I don't think it was this one.
All right, so they're taking off. They're starting to talk, and he's like, hey, I'm going to take you to Universal Studios. And she starts going, I think I need to go home, because I think she's starting to realize that, okay, this was cool, but this is a little much.
Right.
And then my camera is doing the thing again, which is annoying. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I thought I fixed it. And we get this big dude coming in and just, like, tagging Prime. And then Kelly's falling. and we've got an amazing hit. I mean, just like his action is just like,
yeah,
totally. As I was flipping through this issue and the next couple, I was like, man, I need to start referencing Norm Breyfogle's action scenes for my own layouts, because damn, he's really good. A lot of fun.
Yes, well, and not only that, but like Tim Elred, I remember if it's come up before, but Tim Elred's lettering is fantastic in Prime.
Yep, it is. We did actually. We mentioned in the last episode of Prime #1, we totally complimented Tim's lettering
he's gonna
work.
get complimented every Prime episode. Because man,
he makes more than half of the act. Like he makes it part of the action. It's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, so this is another one of those formatting choices where I appreciate his experimentation, but I had to take a minute to figure out what was going on. So he catches her, but our other dude falls into a quick mart and is kind of like landed inside and sees Prime through the window. Man, I'm so sorry about all of this. I don't know why it keeps doing that. And then so he jumps back out of the quick mart, so that poor place is destroyed, and he finally, puts Kelly to the side and is gonna take on this dude head on. And then here we go. We start getting our full-fledged fight. No complaints here. Just solid action work, if you ask me.
No, yeah, I agree.
I like the way the panels are formed horizontally and the action is forming with them. Like, I mean, it's just a good zigzag motion all the way through. Kelly's taking off. She happens to have a friend live close by, so she's like going there to, get refuge.
Right.
Prime takes this dude's head off.
Unintentionally.
Yeah, unintentionally. Because turning the page, he's like, oh shit. Oh my God, I killed him. So here we get this like little kid, like not really realizing his own strength or what he's doing. And this is where I first really began to kind of notice this. I did not understand that Prime's cape was a diamond shape.
Oh, huh. Yeah, I guess I didn't either.
I thought it was just a regular cape, but this is where it really began to stick out to me. But of course, he's freaking out. He leaves, but then the head is growing back in some way, shape, or form, or something. It's got an eye in its chest, or he's not dead. So this is a pretty good sequence. We got a little bit of some Bad Boys action, just to date this a little bit. Guns N' Roses. But Kelly and her friend Courtney, I think, are sitting and having the conversation about everything we've been talking about. How, man, it's really cool. I think that this Prime guy likes me, but also it's like, but he's old. It's an old. This is right. Like, that's weird, dude. This, and speaking of the coloring, again, like, I like had to do a double take. I was like, is this Kelly or who is this? Because of the coloring choice here. But then he is creepy because he's checking up on her, watching her through the window. It's like, okay, she's safe, and takes off.
And that's the thing. Like, that's what's creepy. And I mean, it's also little kid, like a young kid. You're not perceptive enough to realize that this is freaking her out. Like, his takeaway is like, okay, cool, she's safe. I can just. He's not hearing everything that's being said,
right?
Other than that they're talking about him.
Yeah. Whew. Whoa. Yeah. All right. So then here he's kind of talking to himself, and he's kind of considering, the issue with Kelly, out loud to himself.
Right.
And then this guy comes back again, and we get this scientist dude kind of talking about it at the same time. And what happens here is pretty cool because they kind of figured out, okay, this is the way we can capture Prime. We can let this dude actually he's got a goopy kind of body nature like Prime, and so let's make him soft so he can kind of start absorbing Prime. Which this boy Kevin gets suffocated more in the series than any other time. But yeah, they basically just it devours him, encompasses him, and he's trapped now.
Which, I mean, again, the body horror fan in me was here for that.
Yeah,
that page is awesome.
Yeah, it's a fucking amazing page. Love it. God damn that. If I had the money, I would hire Tim Eldred for all my lettering.
Yeah, his lettering is top notch.
Cool.
Dub.
I have nothing else to say about anything else here. But overall, solid issue, 100%.
No,
loving this book.
I agree.
Cool. Well, if you don't have anything else to add to this, or I think we could call this one a wrap.
Nope, we can wrap it. Stick
Awesome.
a fork in it.
Yep. Everybody go out to Aaron's Patreon and sign up. He also has amazing books and comics of his own that you can buy, and I do as well.
Buy them all.
Buy them all. Help support us. Thanks everyone for attending. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications for more Ultraverse videos. Take it easy and keep it psycho.